our eldest started Logos 3 years ago, and our youngest started a year ago? Just over a year ago. We moved to Madrid 3 years ago, and when we moved, we started researching the international schools and bilingual schools, and that's where we came across Logos. And we had a look around and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we love Logos a lot and thought, yep, let's bring children here.
Yeah, so when we was researching the schools, we mainly looked online, and we found quite a few international schools, and then we had a look around a few, and we also came here, we had a tour around Logos and was really impressed with the staff, the whole place, and we just thought it was a perfect place for our boys to come.
The swimming pools is really important for us as a general life skill. We have swimming pools within our communal area, so for us water safety is big.
Yeah, it was a big safety and life skill we wanted them to learn, and they can actually do that here in school.
So we really like Logos School because of the staff, and the teachers also welcoming, and both our children love the staff. They come in big smiles on their faces and they run into school. For us, that's a nice touch to feel that our children feel good going into school and safe.
As well as being from the UK, it was quite important to us that they also learn English as well as Spanish. And in terms of the level of English that they teach here at Logos, I was really impressed, and yeah, that hopefully by the end of the whole process we should have 2 bilingual children. Yeah, so for us, with the level of English in the school, in terms of the immersion of having our children in this centre, it was quite important, and it also a bit daunting as well that they might spend a significant amount of time speaking just English, and then also just speaking Spanish and trying to differentiate between the two. However, typically our eldest, he's definitely...
Oh, yeah, he's very, very good with his Spanish now, and we were quite surprised how much Spanish.
Yeah. And also with his classmates, the English, when they're communicating with one another, it's always, particularly for our eldest, it's always in English, and all the students, their English is fantastic. Yeah, so I think now Oscar's at the point where he is bilingual in terms of his English and his Spanish, and he can just switch between the two, whoever he's speaking to. So typically if he's speaking with us, he'll be speaking in English, but then with his friends or our friends, he can just speak Spanish whenever he likes. Okay, yeah, so as well as I said, the languages, the school does, yeah, so there is other things that the boys do here at school. So Oscar does football, does judo. They also go on lots of excursions to different places, so to local farms, planetarium, and
the library.
The library, they had a reading session there. And also the summer camp they do in the summer, where he can spend all the time with his friends playing. So we sent our eldest Oscar to the summer camp last year, and he loved it. He basically spent all day running, playing, swimming, doing different challenges, working with the monitors there, and also he got to spend the whole summer with his friends whilst we was able to carry on working, and he loved it to pieces. So it was never a chore to try and get him to go there. It was more of a disappointment when it ended. Yeah, so the values that they teach here at Logos, we are fully behind. We understand them and we also support them, particularly working hard, respecting one another, and just generally being good people to one another.
For us, having the nursery, when they first come in and start their school education, and then moving on to the next step, being the international school, we think as a whole, for it being one school is brilliant for us.
I think as well, in the nursery school, it gives them a really good foundation in English, because our eldest is starting in the international school next year, and in terms of when we went to that school and we saw the kind of requirements in terms of English, like it's 50% English, 50% Spanish, so I think attending Logos Nursery gives them a really good foundation in that and helps prepare them for the international school.
We would definitely highly recommend Logos Nursery and International School to any of our friends or family or anybody we meet in terms of looking for a bilingual school, because this school is definitely bilingual, and we just love it, don't we?
Yeah. I think for us, anyone who's in like our sort of situation, like if they have like a child who speaks English or doesn't necessarily speak Spanish as a first language, it's a really good school that teaches them both the English and the Spanish, and like I said, we'd highly recommend it to anyone. So Oscar joined in when he was two and a half?
Yeah.
When he was 2.5, and unfortunately it was right before the pandemic, so it wasn't the best of starts. And then Oliver started when he was 1?
8 months. No, he was 8 months.
8 months old.
8 months old.
The pandemic was hard for everyone, particularly the school children. In terms of what Logos did, they had regular daily video calls, video classes, and also the school provided all the materials so they could do all the work at home. And in terms of the availability and communication with the school, it was fantastic throughout the whole pandemic, and it kind of didn't feel like it was too much of a setback, the pandemic, in terms of their learning, well, particularly Oscar's, because Ollie hadn't joined them. But.
Yeah, but also coming back to school just after the pandemic, the procedures were put into place to protect the children and the parents. I thought that was very, very needed, and for me, dropping the children to school, I felt very comfortable leaving them at school with the procedures and policies that were in place at the time.
They always made the right decisions, like the responsible decisions, not just the easiest ones.